Hey everybody out there in the YouTube universe, this is Mr. Movie, and in today's video we're going to be doing something a little different. If you watch my channel, you know I usually do top 5 lists by actor or director, but sometimes I do genre and sometimes I do other type of topical lists. Today we're going to be doing a genre, so this will be the top 5 horror movies that are in my collection. To be considered the movie, obviously it has to be a horror movie. It has to be in the horror genre, which has a lot of subgenres. So this wasn't so easy. I love horror movies, and like I said, there's so many subgenres. Thriller, slasher, psychological, supernatural. There's so many. So it was really hard to just pick 5. But these are kind of my personal favorites. And not only just personal favorites, I tried to make it a little bit different in terms of just like not picking the ones that everybody likes and the normal ones that everyone says, and try to go a little bit outside of the box. And it also, if you watch when I do my movie reviews, there's a rewatchability scale, and these are ones that I could watch a lot of times. There's a million of them. I mean, there's so many I could list that I didn't put. A lot of them are on other lists. Maybe they're on an actor list or a director list or something like that. But I try to pick ones that weren't on any other lists and that are personal favorites of mine. And like I said, not the normal ones that everyone says. So that's kind of the direction I took with this particular list. With that being said, let's get right into it. Coming in at number 5 is The Strangers. I actually went as the main guy in this for Halloween one year. Very simple costume. But the reason why I like this movie is because a lot of times I like horror movies where they don't show you the thing. A lot of times that happens in monster kind of horror movies. But in this particular case, for a long time in the movie, they don't show you what's happening. These two people, they're in a hotel room and out in the middle of nowhere, like almost a cabin sort of thing, not a hotel room with a bunch of rooms, just the one kind of cabin that they rented. And like I said, middle of nowhere, and people are knocking on the door. They open the door, no one's there, and it's that kind of creepy vibe. And then finally, when it's revealed that it's a group of people, most of them wearing these like childlike kind of creepy doll masks almost, and the one guy has like a potato sack over his head with the eyes cut out, kind of, that was like sewn together. That's who I went as anyway. But you see them, and they're trying to keep them out of the house, and they try to get away at one point, and it's just no matter what they do, they can't escape these people, these strangers. And finally, when they are captured, there's nothing to do, they're tied up, and the girl asks, why us? Why are you doing this to us? And it's the only time they speak. He said, because you were home. Creepy, crazy, very psychologically scary movie that just is very random, and that's kind of what's scary about it, is the fact that it's random. It could happen to anybody at any time. You don't know who those people are. They didn't know who the main characters were. Just random craziness. And I love that aspect of this movie. So number 5 is The Strangers. Coming in number 4 is Dawn of the Dead. I have my problems with Zack Snyder, but this is one of his good ones. And the reason I picked this one, there was a big zombie craze, and there's a million zombie movies. The reason I picked this one is because this is the first movie that I remember where the zombies weren't slow and you could run away from them and trip them. These ones are like on steroids. They're fast, they're chasing you, they don't give a shit. They're just trying to get you, and there's a lot of them. And I love the fact that they hold up in a mall. You know what I mean? That's very modern America. And to be honest with you, I mean, that's where I'd go. You got all these different stores with everything you need. You got food in there, you got clothes in there, bathrooms, electricity. You got everything you need in there. If you could lock the place down, try to ride it out in there. It's not a bad idea. And you get weapons in there, whatever. But I love a lot of great actors in this movie. And I just, it's my favorite zombie movie, I would say. I have a lot of ones that I like, but this one is my particular favorite. And Snyder didn't try to do too much with it, make it too crazy. But it is that terrifying idea of you have nowhere to go, nowhere to run. And when they decide that they got to get out of there, all hell breaks loose. It's just complete and utter madness. Great, great movie. My favorite zombie movie. And the big thing about it is the change in the type of zombie for me. That I was never really scared of the slow moving, hit him in the head with a baseball bat and run. Even though they're everywhere and you can't really get away from them, you know, I mean, I've seen zombies movies like Return of the Living Dead. Great horror movie, great zombie movie. Some of them move sort of fast. These ones all move fast. Everybody's running at top speed, unless they were like a 500-pound one. But I love that change. I've seen it in other ones before, but not to this extent where everyone's fast. 28 Days Later did it, but that was kind of later on. And I argue with anybody to death that that is not a zombie movie. They're infected with the anger or fury, whatever that disease is called. They're not zombies. They're not eating your brain. Not zombies. Anyway, that's a great movie too. But yeah, coming in at number 4 is Dawn of the Dead. Coming in at number 3, this isn't a very well-known movie, I don't think, but it disturbed me a bit and creeped me out, especially when I was a kid. Prince of Darkness. John Carpenter. Great horror director, great director in general. It's such a weird, creepy movie. You know, these scientists go to the church basically calls these scientists to come like try to figure out what the hell is going on in this church, and they don't want to really reveal their secrets as the church does, and especially their more ancient ones. And they have this green like liquid thing in this like container, like ancient container that's locked, and it's just moving, and weird things are happening in the church. And you come to find out that that green stuff in there, they trapped the devil in there, and he's able to control insects, and it's like, and then from insects it goes to homeless people outside of the church, so they surround it so the scientists can't escape. And they're trying to like figure out scientifically what this is and how to beat it, but slowly but surely they're all getting infected. They got to fight against their people, and then the devil is basically coming through to this world through this one woman who her belly looks like it's pregnant, but it's kind of like just morphing through. And then there's a mirror that kind of like actual mirror where it's sort of like the entrance to another dimension, and he's coming through there. And you know, they're all about to die and everything, and then they finally are able, they break the mirror, they're able to kind of figure it out and stop it. And all throughout the movie, like, you know, everyone's having the same dream, and it's the girl who ends up going through the mirror and getting trapped when they break it, sending them messages either from the future or another dimension. It's kind of, it's just a really crazy, you know, strange movie with a lot of twists and turns. And once you're sucked in, it's like you can't take your eyes off it, and what is going to happen next. Really, really cool, underrated, not too well-known horror movie. Great movie. Number 3, Prince of Darkness. Coming in at number 2, this movie creeped me out and disturbed me also, and that's Event Horizon. Great cast. Great cast. Led by Larry Fishburne. Takes place in the future. This is the one that takes place in space and got nothing to do with aliens. That's one of the unique things about this movie. What I love about it is that, you know, they're like they're in the military, but they're like in charge of this one ship, and they do deep space voyages. And like a couple of years before that, they had the biggest disaster in space travel history. This big ship called the Event Horizon was lost. They thought it either exploded or got lost in space, but they were sent to go find it because a signal came from it. Now, they didn't know that at first, but the scientist who built it, who's on the ship with them, tells them, okay, this is classified information, but we're going after the Event Horizon. They're all like, the Event Horizon was destroyed or lost. Like, no, it's back. And then all these creepy things start happening on the ship. Everybody's having these weird visions, and all this, creepy stuff is going on, and you don't quite know what's happening, but you come to find out that the ship did disappear. The whole idea of it was they were trying to figure out faster than light travel by using like an interdimensional kind of device. And what ended up happening is that, yes, it did disappear for like 7 years or whatever, but it disappeared. It ended up going to hell, and now it's back. So the ship is actually possessed, and it takes over all these people, and they have to destroy it. So what they end up doing is they end up blowing up the ship, and only like one or two of them kind of gets away. But then, there's a jump scare at the end, like it's not really over. But it's really, really, I'm not getting into the crazy parts because it's really disturbing, and a lot of stuff happens visually that will mess with your mind. And if you're afraid at all of, hell and the devil and all those kind of things, this will freak you out. And especially since it's set in a, space and scientific kind of, area, it'll freak you out even more because it seems more realistic that hell maybe is another dimension or something, and the ship came back possessed, and all these people fall victim to it. And so did the prior crew. And that's one of the crazier parts that I won't get into, but really, really creepy, cool horror movie that takes place in a whole different setting than you're used to in your traditional horror movie. So coming in at number 2 is Event Horizon. Coming in at number 1, this is probably gonna divide a lot of people. If you know the movie, you either love it or hate it. I love it. It's my favorite horror movie of all time, and that's House of a Thousand Corpses, directed by Rob Zombie. The reason I love it is the reason why Rob Zombie's so cool, because he appreciates the horror genre, and he's so in tune with what's a cool horror movie. You know what I mean? You could tell he's a horror movie connoisseur. The cool thing about what this is, it's every single aspect of every horror movie you've ever seen, from cheesy to dead serious. You got it's suspense, thrills, chills, jump scares, slasher aspects, devil sort of stuff. It's everything. And then you also have cool characters, creepy characters, gore. It's just everything you could possibly want. Humor, you know what I mean? There's funny parts to it, like in a lot of horror movies. All the other ones I kind of said were very serious, where this one doesn't take itself so seriously, like a lot of the cool horror movies, more from, say, like the 80s. And it just takes every single part of the horror genre and puts it in one movie in a really cool way. And to me, personally, Rob Zombie just knocks it out of the park. And, the follow-up movie is great. The third one isn't so great, but the second one is great. They made it more gritty and realistic and down-to-earth, but with the same characters. And the reason they did it is because the characters were so strong. They're so cool, in a creepy way. Those are my top 5 horror movies that are in my collection. Now, there's a million other ones. If you notice, I didn't choose any of the Jason, Freddy, that kind of thing, because there's so many of them, and that's what everybody picks. I didn't even go to like the more psychological one, like The Shining and stuff. Those are on other lists I have. It's on my Jack Nicholson list, So I tried to, like I said from the beginning, I tried to pick stuff that's not the typical everyday stuff that everybody picks, and stuff that I've mentioned in other videos. So that's where I got this particular top 5 from. I hope you enjoyed it. In almost all the videos that I do, I wear these cool shirts from our company, Futuristic Vintage, run by my partner Dave. Shout out Dave. And you can get these shirts. There's a lot of pop culture stuff, cool designs. There's a deal he does if you come from this channel, that he hooks you up with some stuff. But you can go to futuristicvintage.net. It's futuristicvintage.net, and there's so many cool shirts on there, so many cool designs. And like I said, he has some sort of deal for you, so check it out. I guarantee you'll dig it. Thank you so much for watching. And if you want to see why more of my movies are in my collection or why they made certain top 5 lists, please subscribe, hit the notification button so you could get notified anytime I make new videos. I make new videos all the time. Share it with your fellow movie maniac friends and let them know about the channel. I'd appreciate it. And with all that being said, this is Mr. Movie signing off, and I'll see you again next time at the Flicks.